T-minus 60 seconds. T-minus 50 seconds. T-minus 40 seconds. T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 5 Foot Viking podcast, where we get to drink a beer and learn something new. My guest today is a really good friend of mine. We go back probably, I would say, close to 20 years. Yeah. Mr. Oscar Macias. He is the owner, one of the owners here at Cities Restaurant and Lounge in Los Angeles. And we've known each other for a long time. We met early on in our careers, and Oscar has just been a fantastic friend, a great business owner, the type of person that you absolutely just want to work with and work for. So, Oscar, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
No, thank you for having me, man.
Absolutely, man. Good
Big
times.
fan of the show, so thank you.
I love that. It was great.
I watched every single one of the episodes, Grace and I. So
are you serious?
Every single one.
Wow, thank you very much. I appreciate that. You were one of the first people at the beginning to not only comment, but to shoot me a text message just on the side a few days later, like, man, hey, we're watching. This is great. This is really cool. So, and then fast forward 9 episodes and we're featuring you on the show. So, before we get into tonight's topic, which we'll get to in just a second, but before we get to that, my first segment, which is always my most favorite, is the part where we get to drink beer. So tonight's beer that we are tasting is from a company called Four Corners Brewing Company. And I've never had this before. It's called El Chingon.
Chingon. Actually, we had it here. I'd never tried it, though. So
so you had it here at Cities.
We had it on draft, so now I'm going to try it.
All right. So it's awesome. El Chingon Indian Pale Ale, and it's 7.3%. So it's going to get us there fairly quickly. We have a few more back here just in case we run out of this quick.
Nice.
But this is Indian Pale Ale, El Chingon. Ladies and gentlemen, Skull.
By the way, Whit, I hate to interrupt, but you did not give me one. Thank you.
Well, you've got 16 other beers over there, bro.
That's water.
Before we jump into to the topic, I know I'm going to forget, but I don't want to. I want to say thank you first and foremost to Oscar for opening up Cities, letting us come in here and do something different. With the 5 Foot Viking podcast, we're always trying to bring you guys something new and something bigger and better each week. The fact that we could come in here, and it's been an ordeal a little bit today, bringing in lights, bringing in cameras and this and thank you. No,
absolutely, man. It's nice to actually be inside. You know what I mean? You don't know what that means to me. Like just seeing this place empty this past year, pretty much. It's been really, really saddening. But man, just to be in here, lights on. Obviously, just a few of us in here.
A nice cold one.
It's nice to be inside.
Yeah, it's very nice to be inside, and thank you for letting us be in here, and also a big thank you to Edgar Hernandez from the Ed Namrock podcast. Brother,
I just pushed the broom here, dude.
I appreciate you being here, man. You definitely up everything. The production wise, you do things on that side of the camera that allows me to do things on this side of the camera, which is I think we're a great team. I appreciate you being here.
And might I add, I'm very excited to be here with Oscar because there's so much history in this place.
Absolutely.
And I'm curious to know a lot about how it all started. So we're going to get to
Well,
that eventually.
let's jump into that. I came up with just a few questions that we'll start off with, and we'll also jump into some comments because I know there's a lot of people that are jumping on. But our first question that I wanted to talk about was, how did cities come about? Because we met about 20 years ago. You were bartending at the time at Ibiza's in Whittier, and that was a fun time. That was the very, very beginning of my career. And you were bartending there. We met and we became friends. We were doing a lot of stuff. But my question is was cities always in the back of your head? Was it like, did you always want to own a bar and you were waiting for the right time? Or, how did cities come about after you were just bartending?
It wasn't anything like the exact cities, brick and mortar or the name. It wasn't that wasn't in my head like years and years ago, but the bar aspect of it is just something that I just loved. I mean, you can't even explain how much I enjoy the atmosphere of hospitality and just the socialization and just being in the the party atmosphere, I guess you can say. And it was always in the back of my head. It was just something that I like I said, I loved, and I just didn't know how it was actually going to come together. Fast forward 2008, and I had an initial investor that was like, "Well, you know what? I have some financial backing, so why don't we put something together?" And
meaning like partners,
partnering up.
Okay,
partnering up. So he had areas in mind, and I had areas in mind, and honest to God, neither one of us thought of East Los Angeles. We're looking, for those of you that are local, Pasadena, even as far as Culver City, different areas, but not East LA. And it wasn't until a friend of mine, he brought up the idea of doing something here in the East Side, and initially I was like, no, I don't know. Like there's nothing like it here in the area, so I don't know if I want to do something on my own, like literally be on my own with no neighboring businesses of the same, just like us. So he brought up the idea, or he presented he told me about this building in particular. You know what? It's up for lease. Like, okay, so I came take a look at it. I took a look at it. My partner and I actually came, looked at it, and I was actually known for a little while as the crazy guy, because I would in the neighborhood. I seriously was, because I would bring my lawn chair and my little igloo cooler with water, and I would sit out there, and for a little while, I would just count cars and just count the type of cars that were coming by the area, and just realize that this is a major thoroughfare. People coming from downtown, going to downtown, they didn't want to sit in the freeway. They would actually just take this Cesar Chavez. So it finally it hit me. You know what? It's a good location. So
and this was in 2008.
This is 8-9. No, about
and then
8,
how did
2008.
how did the name cities come about? Because that was actually my contractor. We're in the middle of building this place, and I had and I'm not going to say the name because that might be my next project if it ever happens. Okay, all right.
So so I had a name in mind, and he's like, you know what? He started with the whole beaches thing, like the resorts, like, I went to a beaches resort and this and that. And he literally, and I'm gonna plug him. His name's Alex Guerrero from oh my God, I can't remember the name of his contracting company, but I can let you guys know later. But he's like, you know what? I went to this place. You should call it this. And he gave me the reasons for it, and it stuck.
Nice.
And we just went with it. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's awesome.
So it was actually my contractor.
Very cool. Well, thank you,
Alex Guerrero. Thank you,
Guerrero. Skull. So I know we've got a lot of comments coming up in here. Hey, Edgar, should we hit a couple of these real quick?
Of course. So we got
Ignacio, brother. Thank you so much for tuning in, my friend. Ignacio is the owner of Turnbull's Tavern in Uptown Whittier. That's great. Great to see you up and hanging out, man. I appreciate every single week when you're tuning in. I appreciate you, bro. Thanks for hanging out. Kevin Hamill. I love that guy. I was just in Scottsdale with Kevin. We were jamming out a couple tunes out there. Kevin, thanks for tuning
Your
in.
esposa.
Yes, mi esposa. Wait, esposa? Yeah, esposa.
Actually, that means handcuff.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
In
Is that what it is?
Spanish.
Love you, sweetheart. Thank you. Skull. Got a lot of skulls. A lot of people cheers, and I like that. Love
I'm
it.
already getting scolded here. My wife's saying it better be water when it's not.
It better be water.
Yeah. Mr. Schlitt.
Excellent. Mr. Schlitz, how are you, sir? Love seeing you out here all the time. Appreciate you. Danny.
This is an interesting comment from Marlene. She said, I'm going to miss visiting Oscar at Ibiza's for shots while working at Firehouse.
Oh, wow. You remember that. We used to.
Yeah, let me highlight that.
There was literally a couple times, and I guess we can talk about this because it was so long ago. It doesn't matter. But we were, my band, Steel Rod, we were playing there, I think, on Thursdays, if I'm not mistaken. And Marlene was working, and there was a Symbol and Mike and Alex and everybody, Mike and Kimmy, like everybody was working there. And literally, when we would take a break, the whole band and the whole staff would go over and we would take shots, leaving Firehouse Grill with no employees.
That's what I would hear from customers all the time. Dude, they just walk out. But you know what? In their defense, they would come in, take a quick shot.
Yeah.
If they were there 30 seconds, they weren't there very long. Let's just say that.
There was times I remember we roll in and we're like, and as soon as you saw us rolling in,
start pouring.
You knew, like, okay, here we go. Let's do this.
I knew what they drank. Yeah, what you guys all drank.
That was great times. That was great times. Oh, we got
Anthony.
Anthony. Oh, brother. Nice. Mark Gregg. Mark Gregg. Great guitar player, great singer, great performer, always at Fantasy Springs. Appreciate
Eddie.
it.
Kevin Hamill again. Who's that hot chick, Marlene?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Empty seat homie from way back.
Oh yes, empty seat.
Oh, this is a good question, Marlene. Did you meet Whit through Oscar?
Oh, not through Oscar directly, but definitely indirectly because we would.
The degree of separation has always been there. I know that question. For sure.
Well, we met. It was almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I didn't know Marlene back then. I think we met when we started doing all those shots. That was about 15 years ago.
Can I tell the story how I met you guys?
Please.
Just really quick. I'll make it quick. But there was I believe it was a Thursday, as a matter of fact, and Havana House, you guys were playing at Havana House.
Okay.
And you guys, Havana House lost power that day. Whole parade, that whole street.
That's
lost
right.
Power. Dude, they lost power. So Steve was my manager at the time, Steve Cook. And Steve is like, he would always go into Havana House to get cigarettes on his breaks, whatever it was. And he's like, dude, they lost power. Yeah. What do you think? Should I call Robert? At the time, Robert Segura was the owner. He's like, should I call him and actually bring Sierra over here? I'm like, bartender, hell yeah, bring him over here.
Absolutely, let's do this.
So he's like, he talked to Robert, he goes over there, brings you guys down, and it happened to be Johnny's birthday. Happened to be Johnny's birthday. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I knew you guys. I would go see you guys, but I never knew you guys directly. I knew your names, but I didn't actually talk to you guys. Yeah. So that particular day, Johnny was on a good one, man. He was having his birthday, dude. So he was having shots of Don Julio. And he was stacking them up behind his kit, behind his drum kit. So he had a stack of shot glasses. So to me, I just it was Don Julio. Like I always knew him as Don Julio, to the point where I would see you guys play at other places. I would call him Don Julio. So every time I'd say, "Hey, what's up, Don Julio?" So actually, when he walked in here, like kind of like just discovered the place and like just kind of like scouting for places to play. He actually walked in here and I saw him like, Don Julio. But and then eventually I learned his real name.
Yeah, so, you're like, I'm like, well, we've known each other for 12 years. Maybe I should learn what your real name is. Oh, it's Jaime. Oh. No, that's funny. When we were playing over there, did we play in, because Ibiza's was huge, right? And there was that main room, and then there was there was the room with the bar, then there was the room with the stage, then there was another side room, and I remember
huge.
We played a lot of private parties in that. They would rent out that, and we'd do like birthday parties over there and stuff. When you worked there as a bartender, did you only work in the main area, or did you also?
No, I worked. It was when I first started there. I was bartender just like anybody else. So, I would bounce around different bars. Eventually, they made me the bar manager, I guess you can say. So at that point, I could pick my spot. So yes, after that, I
How long did you stay there before you? So when you started having the idea of cities in 2008, 2009, were you already gone from there? Were you looking at taking the jump? Or
Yeah. No, that place was I believe it was only around for 4 years.
it turned into like Rome or
Rome,
something else.
and just
now
after that, it's just
now it's like a food court.
it's a food court and a brewery. I
I
believe
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was. I was there from day one till it closed. So it was about little over 4 years.
You were there for the good times.
The good times.
Yeah, the good times.
And the bad at the very end.
Yeah. All right, we got a few more comments.
We have
real quick.
actually, I don't know who this guy is, but he came out of the surface out of nowhere. He said, "What's up,
Robert?
kids?
Not that.
What's up, kids?"
Yes.
But Ignacio said, "I
Ignacio.
love partying at cities. I do too. I
Yes.
miss this place a lot." This is a very good question, and not question but comment. And it says, "By the way, thanks for having a bar owner on. I like hearing from that side of the paycheck sometimes," and that's something I can add to because I've always wanted to know the story with Oscar in this place because I've only known you as a bartender for so long, and then now you have this awesome establishment that will make a comeback.
Yes.
Thank you for that. We will.
Let's hit up. I think my dad commented right there.
Oh,
Dad, and yes, my dad has been to cities.
Yes,
He's
yeah,
come
that's
down
right.
here. My dad came down here because it wasn't too long ago. It was about 8 years ago, I think, that me and my wife Marlene had our wedding reception here.
Right.
We actually had.
that's right. That's where
That's
Danny commented. It
Uh-huh.
says
Yep.
that you guys held the reception.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
And then
indeed.
Marlene said, "Not quite. We met at Havana House in Alhambra, but got to know
Mhm.
him at Firehouse."
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Stand corrected.
And yeah, Marlene, it was great. It was a great venue. It still is.
Yes.
Not a past tense. It's the future is coming.
Yes.
We love the ambience. We still do. That's what we're here today. And,
Well, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have the podcast here. I mean, I know that with the 5 Foot Viking, there's been a lot of people that I've had as guests that don't live close. So like Kathy Groover, she lives in Santa Barbara. So we just do the virtual. And I know that we could have easily done the virtual as well, but there was just something special about, being here in person, especially within these four walls.
Right.
Steel Rod and myself, we have a lot of history here. We have a lot of history with working with you. And I think that when Johnny first stumbled in here, my ladies and gentlemen, my drummer Johnny was looking for places to play. I mean, good for him. That was awesome that he was pounding the pavement. He's like, I heard about this place called Cities. I'm going to roll in there and see if they need a band. I'm like, good for you. So he rolls in here and he sees, I think Steve Cook, he saw Steve and he was like, bro, like, what are you doing here? He's like, what are you doing here? And then Don Julio. And the next thing
a few other people here that knew him as well. So yeah, it was actually just kind of like he walked in here like, what?
Yeah, we didn't even know this oasis existed. So
a lot of people didn't.
So it was nice to jump in, and then we quickly jumped into working once a week, working twice a week, working on some weekends, and creating that relationship. And one of the fun things was to get to know you as an owner operator versus getting to know you as the bar manager, the person who worked. So instead of being the employee, being the employer mentality. So moving forward into that vein, my second question is going to be more about that side, like Kevin said, that side of the perspective. Now we all know that being an owner, there's so many more things that or that you had to learn, or that you had to obstacles that you had to get over. I know for me, working in so many different restaurants, I've always thought I could do this. I know I could do this. I can see all this stuff. You're like, oh, I got this. I should open my own damn bar. And, but there's so many things that you see from behind the scenes that we don't see. So with that being said, over the past 10 years that you have had Cities open and running, what is one of the, quote unquote, like lessons learned? Meaning like something that maybe an obstacle that hit you that you weren't prepared for. And you were like, okay, well, all right, now I learned this one and now I got to move forward. I know what to watch out for, because there's so many things that you get hit with every single day. Is that something that happened throughout the course, or something right before, or something during?
The actual operations of the business itself, I'd been doing it for years. So obviously you still learn. There's always things that come up that you learn. My biggest learning curve would be the prior to opening.
Okay.
That was definitely something that was very intense. Just the permit process per se. Just starting with that, I just thought, okay, I want to open up a bar. Here I go. Like, what do you what do you need from me?
Pay my rent.
That's
and then the doors are open.
And then what a lot of people think, okay, and then I sell a beer for $5.
Yeah.
And it costs me $1, so I profit $4 in my pocket. No, it doesn't work that way. But anyway,
what?
No, it doesn't, dude.
Okay, I don't know if I want to do this podcast. You're pulling the curtain way too back, bro. I don't want to know what's going on behind there.
Yeah, man. So, but prior to opening, I just I was like that kid with the dream, with the pipe dream. I want to open up a bar, and so I talked to a few people, like, what do I do? Okay, so you start off with this. Go find yourself an architect. We were in the building at the time, so I found myself an architect. Okay, what do you want to do? Okay, I'm giving him my ideas. I want to do this. Oh no, you can't do this. You can do that. So we go back and forth for about a month and a half, 2 months. Finally, he's like, okay, go present it to the county. And anyway,
oh my gosh,
that's a fraction of what we.
Really?
Oh my God, that's just a fraction of it.
But anyway. So my question is, how do you know where to take it? Like, he says, okay, here's the plans. Now what? Like, did you Google how to open a bar for?
Dude, I was like a Three Stooge, at that point, just trying to figure out where to go, and just and back then, like Google wasn't in the back of my mind. Okay, I can Google this. I was just asking people, what do I do now? What do I do now? So it was just it was an ordeal, man. Just okay, architect, go to planning. Now you're going to go through a hearing. Now you do your song and dance. Tell the county what you want to do. Once that actually, that's another story. It's too long. I won't get into that one right now. But going to
podcast number 2.
Yeah, it's a good story, but it's just way too long. But then after that, I'm like, okay, now I'm free and clear. I got approved, so now I can open my bar. No, now you got to go back to building and safety. Now you have to hire a structural engineer. You have to hire an electrical engineer, a plumbing engineer, a mechanical engineer. All these people to put everything together. So,
but the building's already here.
Yeah, everything the building was literally 4 walls, dude. 4 walls and a ceiling. That's all that was here. You guys can't see this, but there's a mezzanine behind you. There's a bridge.
Oh, you built all this?
This everything in here. The soffits.
Wow.
There's 4 walls and a roof. So let's just to give you an idea. So just dealing with all these different engineers, and me being the middleman, like I'm dealing with the architect, and this guy saying no, going back and forth between building and safety and all these engineers. And let me tell you, that was a huge, huge ordeal. So your question was, what was lesson learned?
Yeah.
Lesson learned, there's such a thing as a one-stop shop that I didn't know.
Really?
There's an architect, and they helped me out eventually, a company up here in Monterey Park, where they would do design. All their engineers were in one office. So they would literally just roll their chair back. Hey, dude, change this. And they would make all the changes, and they were all in.
Wow.
Where prior to that, I was driving around all over the county, just trying to get everything together. So lesson learned. Don't try to save a buck by going to all these different. Go to a one-stop shop, A to Z.
Get it done.
Get it done, man. It took us so long.
How long? That was my next. How long did that ordeal take you?
We literally started and stopped the project a few times because it was just it was getting too intense. It was just getting to the point where it was a money pit. We're just throwing money into it, trying to get plans together, not even opening up. So
haven't even sold a beer yet.
Not even breaking ground. It took a few years.
Wow.
Yeah, years literally. Just to get it past, just to get through all the red tape, through all the regulations. Yeah, it took a while. And one thing that I always there was actually a friend of Robert Stiles and I that came to me one time at one point, and he's like, you know what, I have this idea. I want to open up this place in such and such city. Can you give me some guidance or some information? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Let's sit down. And he experienced what I actually experienced. So he was telling me that a place that he worked at, he talked to the owner after he had already left, like, hey, can you give me some guidance? Oh, it's too hard. Don't even try it. Don't even try it. He literally tried to talk him out of it. And when he came to me, that's the last thing I wanted to do. I'm like, you know what? I was in your shoes. Like, I didn't know
shit,
if I could say that. I didn't know shit about this whole, building a bar. So I learned as I went. And had I had somebody to give me a little guidance, which I also asked a few of my ex-bosses, and never any substantial information. It was all like, oh yeah, do this. Like, nobody ever took me serious. So
have you had the opportunity to be on the other side of that and to give advice? Yeah,
actually, with this particular person that I mentioned, I had another person ask, but we never sat down. I don't know what but yeah, absolutely. I would donate my time. I don't just to help somebody out and actually like, open their eyes and let them know how it really is. But it's possible. Yeah. I'm a kid from East LA. I was born across the freeway, literally. And
wow, that's cool.
Isn't that crazy? People ask, like, there's some people in the beginning that I was behind the bar actually that particular day, and they were talking about these foreign people coming in and investing into our area, this and that. I was bartending. I was serving them drinks, and I had to.
It's like,
I went up there.
Oh, sorry, baby. No, I got to.
I'm my brother and we were born across the freeway, so we brought it back.
Yeah, this is our spot.
This is our spot, man. Yeah.
Well, I know that you have always been generous with your time and generous with your knowledge. I mean, just a quick story. Even just a few years ago, when I was in at community college, I was taking a few entrepreneurship classes, and I remember I had to go and interview a business owner to talk about things behind the scene. And I asked you if you were down to sit down with me for 30 minutes, and you, just not even a split second, just like, yeah, absolutely, not a problem. Do I have to name names? And I said, no, of course not. We don't have to name names unless you want to. Like, but that was really cool to sit down and I had this whole questionnaire thing that I had to do for my class. And even just in that position, the fact that you were just willing to donate your time and your knowledge that you've gained from all this, because one thing that I think people at home, one thing that you guys have to understand here is that Oscar is one of the most hands-on owners that I've ever worked with. To the point where the stage is built from him. Like, he built the stage. We needed a stage, so he built one. And Oscar has always been really good when it comes to I don't want to say working with wood, but
I've seen Oscar kick people out himself.
But even he needed new coffee tables out on the patio. Okay, well, let me go build them. I need new planters. You know what? I'd rather build them. He's definitely a builder, and a lot of the stuff, when you come to cities and when you walk around, you look around in here, you'd be surprised to know that a lot of the stuff that's in here was literally built with his own two hands, and I shit you not. So that's, to be honest, that's kind of cool, but to know that when you come in here. Moving on to question 3. I think this is something, and you know what? I think I didn't write enough questions, but I know that this is something that we can definitely build off of this. What are the goals? Because I'm huge on goal setting, you know that, and I know that you're also huge on goal setting. So, before we move on to what 2021 has in store, I just want to talk just very quickly, and I don't want to get too political because that's not what this podcast is about. Yeah, but I do want to know some of the challenges that hit you with 2020, because I think it's important that everybody knows that not only have everyone's hit challenges, all of us, musicians, doctors, every single person has hit problems with 2020, and business owners and entrepreneurs, especially here in Southern California, have been slammed. So it's literally been about a year. So reflecting on this last year, if you could give us maybe just a couple of your obstacles that you faced, how you got around them. Maybe there were some important people that played a part in the success of getting through 2020.
Well, the obstacles are still like they're still they jumped into 2021 obviously, but the biggest one is not being open.
Mhm.
I mean, that's that just in itself. I mean, we still have bills. We still have to pay rent. We still have to pay utilities. So that in itself is obviously the biggest obstacle. But the staffing has been really rough because at one point we had close to 40 employees. This is
Wow.
including security staff and
Cooks and
cooks, the whole gamut of the business. So yeah, so now we're down to I can't even tell you right now, but we're super skeleton crew, and obviously a lot of our staff, like, they moved on to other things. They can't just wait around for reopen. So that is another huge obstacle right now, just trying to hire back or hire people in general. So that number two, and the it's literally, I was just talking to my girlfriend about this. This is literally like starting over again. Like, I still remember when we first opened up, we were undercapitalized. So I literally borrowed furniture from a friend of mine that had another bar somewhere else to open up one day a week, and then, getting us off the ground. So, it's literally like we're starting over. Like, I don't know how much to order in the kitchen. I don't know how much to order behind the bar because I don't know what we're going to go through in a week. So that in itself is just, it's frustrating, but it's, it's exactly how it was in the beginning, like trying to get back up to, or trying to get to where we want it to be. Yeah. And now trying to get back to where we were.
Well, after some of the initial shutdowns a year ago, and then moving into summer, I know that there was a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel saying, you're allowed to open for takeout or for dine out or for outdoor dining or for stuff like that. And I do remember a few bar owners that had talked with the city, and some of their issues with the whole situation is they expressed that dine out and takeout is not our business model. No, so we put so much work into our business model and how we're going to do business, and now you're asking us to just flip it, and that's not it's almost impossible to make all this happen. It's going to cost more than it would to bring in revenue. Do you find like that was a similar story with cities?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we weren't built to serve people outside. It's a beautiful building. I mean, if you've ever been in here, I mean, we have barrel truss ceilings. It's a beautiful building. People come in here because they like the space. Now you're outside, you're taking food to go. It's not the same. So yeah, that's we've been fortunate that a lot of our friends have actually been coming out and supporting. But I think most, that's just a support structure that we have, thankfully. But no, we're a destination. We're not like your McDonald's where you go through the drive-thru and take food to go. People would actually come here because they would hang out, because they would see their friends here, because they were here to socialize. And
well, that's what you said at the beginning too, is the ambiance of it. The you like the nightlife, you like the socialization of it, and that's one thing that I gravitated to here at Cities. Was when we were playing here, we had our I think for a while we were doing here Sundays and Wednesdays for a while, and then sometimes we were just doing Sundays and sometimes this, and then towards the last maybe like 2 years, I think, that we were playing here, we were doing maybe like once a month, twice a month on a Friday or Saturday. Right. And that to me was so much fun because we've got the stage up here. We kind of set it up really nice. We have the upstairs. You've got the lights going. You've got the DJ going. You've got you've got an outdoor patio. It's just a really, really nice environment. So the fact that we can come in, you can enjoy, you can socialize, you can meet people, you can have fun. And then we get a chance to get up there and show, because when it's the Friday night, it's the nightclub type atmosphere.
Nightlife
but then we
atmosphere.
come out and then we do Sweet Child of Mine, and it kind of throws everybody for a loop. But people love it.
They loved it.
And it was a blast. It was so much fun. That's what attracted me to the weekends here. So how do you take that business model and turn it into a takeout?
Right. Yeah.
Maybe we should get outside and we should play sweet child of mine as people are driving by.
But might I add,
Yes.
and I don't mean to interrupt,
No,
but
please.
he has no idea that he's basically the biggest inspiration in this block.
Yeah.
Because I was born across the freeway just like him at General Hospital. And what you have done, I mean, a lot of us are not really, I'm not going to say brave enough, but we won't exalt ourselves to tell you that how much this is an uncensored show, so how much we fucking admire you. Seriously, because one, you're a very, and I'm not blowing smoke up your ass because
He is.
10 years later, you're still fucking here.
Yeah.
On Chavez and
Ford.
And you had all of the odds stacked against you. None of us thought that this was going to work out. You know, at least the ones that grew up here, because I'm like, okay, well, good luck.
You know what's crazy?
And he did it.
The people
he fucking did it.
There were some people that I think a lot of people were kind of, at the very beginning, I think you probably know some people too that were kind of like, maybe silent haters or maybe just like, I don't know if it's going to work out, man. You're like you said too. You said that like, you weren't thinking East LA,
Dude.
and then you get down here and you're like, so maybe. And what's funny is that once we started playing here and once we really started coming in, it was one of those things too. And I remember, I think I told Marlene this after the first time that we played here. She goes, wait, so she was asking and she was like, that's Oscar's place. I said, yeah, that's Oscar's place. Remember we used to go take shots and stuff like that. And she goes, it's in East LA. And I think that's kind of like what everybody's first reaction is, like, it's in East LA. And I said, yeah, but the craziest thing is as soon as you walk in, it's like Harry Potter. It's like from the outside, it looks like the little 2-man tent. But when you walk in, you're like, it's this mansion, like beautiful. And it's literally, that is the feeling that you get when you're walking down the street. You're like, okay, East LA, I'm right by here. Okay, you walk inside and you're like, what is going on with this place? You've got the brick wall, you've got the nice aesthetics, you've got the great lighting, you've got it's really nice in here. So bottom line is like what Edgar said, you can you can be extremely proud of the situation here. I know that last year was difficult to say the least. But the fact that you're moving forward, and I'm going to plug this too, in April, you guys are celebrating 10 years.
10 years.
10 years.
10 years open.
Yeah.
And
10 years open. 20 years working on it.
Working on it, right. Yeah, 10 years open. 10 years open.
We got, I think we had Scotty up here said that we can buy his bar.
Okay, Scott. Let me take it out of my checking account.
Scott, I love you, and I would love to be a part of KD Jakes.
Just real quick, Boris worked with us in the beginning, and he remembers the humble beginnings. So I remember.
Wait, that's right. Boris worked here.
Boris worked here with us, and he remembers the tough times, like opening.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? The first time I actually came to Cities, and my server at the time was Boris. And
really?
Boris.
It was like looking in the mirror at the time, because I also had long hair. But everything was right about this vibe. That's why we all miss it. But like your dad said, that's not just a venue, but the people who work here.
Yes.
They're friendly and helpful, even in the most crowded, scenes here. It's always, I like to call it controlled chaos, because that's what you guys like to coordinate here, is controlled chaos. Like everyone comes and goes as peacefully as possible.
Yeah, but that's scary though. Yeah. I mean, when you think about controlled chaos, I don't know if that's what like King of the Cage stuff.
No, I mean, Oscar would know about this coordination better than I do, and the security guards as well. But there's always that element of surprise, of course, of working at a restaurant and a nightclub at night, and you got those unexpecteds, like the ones that you would never think they would.
Well, that triggers a good question.
Yeah.
In the past 10 years, I mean, okay, prior to that, we've all been in restaurants and bars where there's been a bar fight. There's been a fight or this, or I think one of the best ones I remember was at Zendeja's when these chicks started fighting. It was fantastic. And then the security guy picked up the girl and put her on the side and said, "You shouldn't be fighting, you're pregnant." And she was like, "Bitch, I ain't pregnant." And then she started trying to beat him up, and he was like, "Oh, my bad, I'm sorry." So that's one of the greatest more spectator fights that I witnessed. But in your time, I'm not going to ask you to tell us all the dirt, but has there been a bar fight that you were like, wow, okay, well, that opened my eyes to maybe we should have more security on that night? Or has there been anything that was been a little bit crazy that way?
What the hell? Are you trying to get me into legal issues here?
Yeah, let's do this. Come on, let's get down to the nitty gritty.
You know what? I'm not just saying this because it's my place, but I don't think we've ever had anything rough to the point where it stands out. We still do. I mean, when we're ready to go again, we've some amazing security guards, starting with Robert Guzman,
True.
Johnny, Jimmy Cantu. Like all these guys are professionals. They've been doing this long enough. One of the things that I can tell you, and a lot of my friends can tell you the same thing, that we're working and there's things going on and we're talking here, but our eyes are everywhere. So there's people, their motions, their looks, the way they're talking. You automatically, you see that. It's like, it's a radar, dude. I'm not kidding you. It's a radar. These guards, and I kind of learned it from them. You're constantly scanning. I'll have another, sure. You're constantly scanning, and you, like I would say, 99% of the time you catch it before it gets to that point, because you see, like I'll be talking to somebody and I see somebody motion something and I'm like, I'm already, and they're like, and they're joking around. Like, it's just like, their buddies like, hey, what the hell? Like, they're joking around. So,
but you got to be ready for all that.
Yeah, that's the thing. But getting back to your original question, I honestly, and I'm not just saying that, I can't recall anything that really stands out.
Okay.
Well, let me ask you this question, Oscar. Mm-hmm. Has there ever been something where it was very impressive? I'm sure there was that one like, wow, that person can really either fight or defend themselves. You're like, whoa. And it's unexpected at the same time. You're like, oh, okay. Then, situation breaks up and you're just like, wow, okay. That really impressed me. That person unexpectedly defended themselves really well. And
talking like this a UFC fight up in here.
I'm just saying, because I've seen stuff outside of
I think that's
every
the thing.
bar,
I think
I'm like, yeah.
I think also, I mean, just going back to what you said about the security here being so good, defusing situations before they escalate.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the biggest things. Like, if you see two guys like getting a little puffy and talking, like, you just get in there and talk it out. Like, just not talk it out. Like, hey, bro, like, what's going on? Like,
or like The Office, you hug it out, bitch. Is that how Michael Scott says it?
I think so.
Hug it out, bitch. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, no, it's all about diffusing, just like anything else. But no, getting back to your questions, I can't, and I'm being honest. I can't say, and nothing stands out, honestly. And I've worked at places from Orange County to Anaheim, and I've been all over the place. So, and I honestly can't tell you anything different here than anywhere else. But nothing that stands out. No.
Let's jump into Teresa's comment real quick right there, because since we just opened up another one.
Oh, shit. That's right.
What are we drinking tonight, guys?
Yes, Teresa. We are drinking Four Corners Brewing Company.
Let me put up that banner real quick so everyone knows.
Thank you.
Again.
It's called El Chingon. El Chingon. I always feel like I just don't say it correctly.
You got it.
You're Mexican by proxy. You know
Seriously,
that?
My wife, I hope I'm making her proud when I say El Chingon.
There you go.
Okay.
Good job.
All right.
El Chingon.
And it's an Indian pale ale, and it is a 7.3, I think, 7.3%.
You know what's funny is Silali brings up a good comment here is cities is like Vegas. What happens at cities stays at cities. Wow.
Ends up on Facebook.
Kenny says, chaos. What are you talking about? Me? Oh.
Oh, yeah. Kenny DeBaca?
Yeah.
Kenny DeBaca?
Kenny DeBaca? Oh,
wow. Kenny DeBaca.
What's up, Kenny?
Okay.
Brother.
Where are my tables?
Bodie's wants to have a death metal gig here at Cities. Oh, that's going to be good time.
Yes. Boris.
Yeah. And he
that's
goes
awesome.
there. What? Oh, 7.3.
Ooh, I
yeah.
like
very all right.
Oh, I like what Alex is saying right here. Let's jump into that one.
He says top 3 to 5 tips if looking to open up a bar.
So this is this I would take this more like a spitfire question, right? Like just off the top of your head, top 3 to 5 tips. Like these are the things that you need to know.
Well, off the bat, you need to know the bar business. I think
Yeah.
that I actually
Well, I like beer.
right. I like liquor. Shit, I'm good.
No,
Um,
Oscar, but when you say that, you got to know the bar business. That doesn't necessarily mean being a barfly, right?
No,
That
no, of course
means
not.
what?
No, of course not. I mean, there's just like anything else, it's regulated. So you need to know what your laws are. You know, what is, you know, I can't. I'm just because I have a bottle of liquor, I doesn't mean I can just, you know, sell it and I'm done with it. There's laws. So learn the liquor business. At least I don't know if there's a dummies for bar owners.
Most
but
likely.
most likely. So just pick up.
Most likely, this is the podcast for.
There you
for
go. Dummy number one here. But yeah, I mean, just do your homework. That and also just my God, just accounting. Like
Really?
know a little, at least a very little. Just know what your you know, your P&L statements are, like stuff like that, because you don't know where money goes, and
Mhm.
you know, money comes in the front, and
And
what
you know,
gets you,
yeah.
so accounting. Just know who you partner up with. What else can I tell you?
Well, let me ask you this question, because this is kind of like a high school question, I guess, that me and Webb were talking about earlier. Like, there's stuff in high school, for example, that they don't teach you, right? For a young aspiring entrepreneur like anyone else, what would you recommend they start to learn? You said P&L, but that's going to go over people's heads. So P&L means profit and loss.
Not for the people that are actually
profit
looking to
and
do
loss,
Yeah,
this.
exactly. So, what do you think they should start doing small? Like what, selling, I don't know, hot Cheetos out of their bag, or
I mean, if you can start that small, hell yeah, man. That's like
Right.
I used to my grandmother would tell my mom, because we'd go to Mexico every summer, and literally every summer from the time school ended to the time we had to go back to school, we'd go visit my grandmother, and I would get my daily allowance. So you know, whatever it was at the time, 20 pesos. I can't even tell you. But my cousin and I would go to a candy store, a wholesale candy store at that, which they would sell to us, I guess, because we were kids. So we'd buy like our 20 pesos worth of candy, whatever it was, and set up a little stand in front of my grandma's house and sell it and flip and make 40 pesos out of it.
So you've always
then
been an
spend.
entrepreneur.
I guess so. Apparently, I didn't realize, but apparently I was.
that's
so,
what it sounds like. Yeah.
So you know, early on, I kind of realized that, you know, actually, you know, if I doubled my money, it didn't mean I could spend it all. So I would save a little bit, and you know,
Yeah, because you have to buy the other candy to do it again.
party it up with 20 pesos at 9 years old, and then.
Can we go back up? Teresa has a good one.
Absolutely. Teresa says,
yeah. You need to have
more than one
stall in the ladies' room.
More than what?
More than one
More than one
stall
stall for
in
the
the ladies'
ladies'
room.
room.
Ignacio it says it's super hard, and I know that he knows the business as well.
Yeah,
Billy brings up something good.
Let's see. Billy said, book the best bands they bring.
Yes,
people.
indeed.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed. We found that out with Steel Rod, with
talent
DW3.
is-
Have Steel Rod played every day? Oh, wow. Every Friday.
Every
I said every
Friday.
day. I'm like, wow, every day. Monday
Every
through
Friday.
Wow.
That will be beautiful when we are allowed to do that.
Right.
That's true.
Okay, Alex brings up a good question, which is interesting. How real and or fake is bar rescue? Well,
That's interesting.
yeah, chime in on that, Oscar.
They honestly, like, for somebody that's in the bar business, they really don't tell you anything new. They honestly do not. Every single thing, every episode I've watched, it's like, yeah, we know.
Yeah.
Sometimes you, for whatever reason, you fall off, but you get back on. But nothing has ever been new on that show, at least for me. Maybe here and there, but yeah, I mean, the obstacles or problems are real, but are they for somebody that wants to open up a bar? Yeah, it's real. It's real stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's real stuff. Is it new? No, it's the same thing. It's literally, you know, things that we go through every day.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Can we scroll back up? I think
Absolutely.
I saw a few more up there that I
Well,
was
we saw, I don't know who this guy is, calling Boris a becerro.
See, nobody understands
I
that
don't
on
know
the
who that guy
5 Foot
Robert
Viking.
Salas is. I have no
On the
idea
5
who
Foot
that guy
Viking
is.
podcast, nobody understands that the
See, bringing in new fans. Anthony just friended Oscar. I'm going down for Palo Springs to chill. Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh
cool.
yeah, excellent.
And
I like that.
Bodhi says no skull today. Today is salud.
Well, I'll give you a skull.
And I'll give one more aura just for the record. So, yeah,
Awesome.
everyone's well. And then don't eat your own Cheetos. Don't get high on your own
Yes.
supply.
Never.
Never, ever. Well, I guess you can't really say that in the bar business because, there are some late nights where we do have to, partake in our own. I'm sure you have a few shots on your own.
Well, that's interesting. I was going to ask Oscar that question because I know every facility has their own drinking on the job policy, quote unquote, whatever. So how do you decide that as a business owner? Like, okay, you can have only X amount of drinks as a barback,
does that
as
have
a bartender.
does that have more
what
of
is
a?
that?
Does that have more like when we were talking about things being regulated?
Yeah.
And knowing like, is that something that's regulated or
it is? Yeah, you shouldn't be drinking.
Yeah,
you shouldn't be drinking.
Yeah, I don't know where you were thinking about that. I don't know what bars you go to.
Mexico.
That allow you to do that. That's like
everywhere in Mexico.
No, it is. I mean, you don't want to be impaired if something.
No, of course not.
Were to happen.
Yeah.
No, but is there
You're
like
leading
a
us
golden
down the wrong road,
no,
bro?
but is there a golden rule? Like, say I was an employee of yours, whatever, and some patron offered me a drink. What's the golden rule behind it? What's the protocol behind it?
Let them pay for it and then drink it when you're done.
There you go.
Okay, good. Okay.
I'm not trying to get him in trouble, bro. What do you leak?
No, I'm just saying because I'm very new to this industry. I mean, obviously, like we buy drinks for other people, for other patrons, and sometimes the DJs. But even the DJs say no.
But that's the best part about being a musician, because as a musician,
your talent, you need to have a drink.
I need to have a drink. How am I supposed to get everybody else a drink if I'm not drinking?
This is an honest observation, but most of our DJs, and Robert Stiles is here, can attest to this. Most of our DJs play better when they've had a few drinks.
Yeah, I'm the same way. But here's the thing: there has to be.
But there's a balance. Obviously,
there's definitely a balance
if you're
oh my gosh. There's been too many times when I didn't realize that that balance was gone until I was already gone. Yeah. So, and I'm with you on that. There's times when I played completely sober and I can't get into it. And there's times that I played completely drunk and I feel like I'm doing a great job, but then I see the video on Facebook the next day and I'm like, I just wish I could crawl under a rock and never see Facebook ever again. But there's that happy medium where you have a couple drinks and you're feeling good. And I'm sure it's the exact same thing with DJs and with any performer that is out there doing their thing and showcasing their talent. Excuse me. This beer is
this stranger
really good.
He keeps really popping strong up on the feed and he says that it takes off the edge. I mean, I can't disagree with that, but at the same time, I know, Oscar, it's a business. You got to run it. You're an employee. You still got to be, on top of your game. And especially with this service industry, I know how.
No,
I mean, I'm on the other side. I'm always getting shit-faced at your facility, obviously. So
look at Marlene's comment right here. So my wife, for the longest time, was a bartender and a server, and she says you have to have at least a couple of shots while bartending. And I from a musician standpoint, I guess I can look at it. And knowing the bartenders and knowing the servers and knowing what they put up with, there's not the nicest customers out there, and it's nice for them to have a little drink here and there. But if I could say anything, it would be the people that like are not in the service industry. Like if you work at if you work at a bank and you're dealing with assholes, shouldn't you be able to have a shot? Like you should be able to, like you. Someone's being mean to you and just being a dick and you're giving them your money and you're like, I'm taking my shift drink right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I'll answer your question, Edgar. I mean, there's this industry, exactly what Marlene said. Sometimes you need to take the edge off, especially like I'll tell you myself as a bartender, when I first started, and I still am, I'll be honest with you. I'm a very introverted, I'm a shy person. So to be behind a bar where you're kind of center stage in a sense, like everybody's looking at you, like they're watching you make drinks, and you're like, oh, am I going to make it? Am I going to spill something correctly or something? So you need that sometimes. But
it's kind of like the sandwich artist at Subway. You're just like,
yeah, exactly. You're watching them like, oh, did you just? Oh. Anyway,
I didn't want that onion.
I wanted the other onion. So yeah. So but there has to be. There has to be, like you said, like if you wanted to ask, you asked if there was a standard, like I would say maybe 2. I mean, if that's
Keep it chill, honey bunny.
yeah.
Be don't.
That's
It's like the rule of every time you travel. Like, just don't be fall down drunk.
exactly.
Well, it's funny because beer, like especially like light beer, for example, that's different. That's kind of like a carbohydrate and kind of.
Well, it depends on who you talk to.
Well, exactly. I mean,
I know
if you
some
got-
lightweights that they drink one Coors Light and they're taking their tops off and they're
God,
counting ceiling
a
tiles.
Coors Light? Isn't that like water?
I
From the
mean,
Rocky
to me,
Mountains?
But I'm a
Okay.
heavyweight, bro. I can drink 2 Left Coast Asylums, which are 12%
Like,
each.
Sorry.
We got
Oh, no, it's okay.
Boris. Let's
Boris.
see.
I wanna-
Boris says there's a time and a place. Nothing wrong with being cordial and accept a drink from a customer,
Mhm.
but you should never forget that you work there and
Absolutely.
you represent the company. And this is other guy. I don't know who this
Yeah.
guy is, man. Who the hell is Robert Salas? As a DJ, we got to be on point, not only on the music, but the crowd's attitude and reaction and how busy the bar is. We also scan and help out security, keeping the peace and being the eagle eye. And you know what?
Absolutely.
That is
Mhm.
absolutely true because there's this guy named Robert Stiles that I know. I don't know who this Robert Salas is. That did a magnificent job for a long time when I actually was a groupie of his. So yeah, I said it. I was a
Groupie?
groupie of his. I still am.
Well, moving forward, so we talked a little bit about 2020. And this is one of the great things about having Edgar here is that he takes care of a lot of stuff, but also on the flip side of that, we go down some rabbit holes, which is great. I appreciate you. What the hell were we talking about? Oh yeah, 2020, and then moving into 2021. So, 2020 being what it was, and the obstacles that you faced, and being shut down, then being able to open for takeout, and then being able to reopen and just outside. Right now, as of right now, are you guys open to the public?
We are open. We're open for outside dining like everyone else.
Okay.
We're just trying to get the ball rolling again. So we're only open 3 days a week: Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, from 5 p.m. to midnight.
Okay.
Again, just we're starting from scratch again. Just starting, ordering, staffing, all that stuff, all the operations. So just 3 days a week for now. Outside dining.
So moving, I know that everybody has their speculations on when we're going to open and when we're not going to open, and if we're going to open and what's going to happen. But in a perfect world, what kind of goals do you have personally for cities moving forward into 2021?
I mean, the goal is obviously to get back to speed, back to where we were, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. The whole gathering big crowds, I don't think that'll happen for a while. So we're working on some things, just to work through these hard times, and eventually the goal is to get back to where we were.
Yeah,
back to the golden years.
Back to being inside.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, when we
safe.
do get the okay to open up, if I'm not mistaken, it should be at like a capacity level.
From what I'm hearing, it's going to go back to 25% capacity, so that'll be very limited. So yes.
And when it goes back to that, are you? I mean, does that foresee any type of profit margin? I mean, at 25% capacity,
Not looking for a profit right now. We're just trying to survive, honestly. Working outside in the with outside dining.
Yeah.
We're not turning a profit. We're losing, but it's at least we're relevant. We're still here. We're still here. That's my main concern. My brother and I talk about it all the time. We just want to be relevant. We want to make sure people know we're here. We're not going anywhere. And we're just going to get back up to speed and eventually get back to.
Well, brother, that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to have you on here. I know we had plenty of conversations beforehand, and then with 2020, we've talked a lot, and I came out a few times during this because I wasn't sure if you were allowed to come out, wear a mask, don't wear a mask, be outside, wave, send a smoke signal, something like that. But, moving forward into 2021 with goals of getting back to what it was, I'm hoping that if there's anything that I can do personally or we can do with my band, with Steel Rod, I know for sure I can speak for them as well, that we would love to help you out in any way, shape or form. So with that being said, I think right now, ladies and gentlemen, before we move on, I just wanted to say thank you to Oscar for allowing us to be here and have the 5 Foot Viking podcast. From the first live location, which is kind of cool. It was a lot of work today, believe me.
Oh my God!
Bringing
yes.
everything in
for you guys, not for me.
Yeah, but it was great though, because to be honest, it's been fun trying new things and getting outside of the comfort zone and seeing what works and seeing, like we were talking about earlier with what obstacles you faced with starting your business. This is for lack of a better term, kind of like a business, and it's just a whole new something different that I'm still learning about. So the fact that I had Edgar Hernandez here today with me, I appreciate you. Thank you for being here.
And I just want to give a shout out to City's Restaurant and Oscar. The address is on the tag right there at the bottom. And I know there's a lot of uncertainty going around about, what's going to happen. Like, a lot of people have been being vaccinated a lot. The numbers are going down. Things are going to happen quicker than you think. I'm confident that by April, cities will be celebrating their 10-year here, even if it's at 25%.
We're definitely hoping, yes.
And might be able to make it up to like 26%.
Bump it up to 30, man. Even if it's 50, whatever.
Yeah.
But I want to thank Oscar for being such an inspiration. And I mean, you put fire under our feet because we're locals, right? And it rubs off on other people, just like Whit and me. And we're just like, fuck, man. Like, okay, what do we got to do next? We are constantly trying to reinvent the wheel and trying to do something for ourselves and give back to the people, because that's exactly what you've been doing. You've given back to East LA for the past 10 years, and you don't even know it. I know, because you're too busy running this place and keeping the roof over your head. But I just want to thank you for giving us a place to come and eat,
yes,
drink, and have a great time. And I've met people here the past 10 years that I still continue to talk to this day, Oscar. So thank you for that, man.
No, I want to thank people that have been coming out and supporting, like all these years, these 10 years. Like you say that we've given back. People have given back a lot more to us. Let's just say that. And we're here 10 years later. So thank everyone that's come out. Thank you, everyone that's been coming out to support while we're like Wayne's World out in the club on the sidewalk. No, seriously, thank you guys.
Well, yeah, so with that being said, I want to give you a platform right now to let everybody know, where can they support you? What days and times are you guys open? And
well, like I said earlier, we're getting the ball rolling, trying to get back up to speed. So we're open 3 days a week. We're open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, from 5 p.m. to midnight, and we're hoping to increase our hours as time progresses. We're just dialing everything in, trying to get staff, getting our purveyors back online. Yeah. So it's still, a little bit of a work in progress, but we're hoping soon to increase our hours, and God willing, soon we'll be open up inside, and we can enjoy the great indoors.
All right, you guys. Well, listen. Next week, if you guys can, if you can go to the branding. Yes, thank you. I think is it there? It is. So join me next week. Next week will be my very 10th. My very 10th. Yes, my very 10th podcast I've ever done for the 5 Foot Viking podcast. It'll be next Tuesday on March 9th at 7 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube Live. And what I decided to do with this one was to go, I wanted to do like a recap show, because the whole point of putting this podcast together was that, social media has kind of become just a very dark and negative place lately. You definitely see some light here and there, but with everything that's happening politically and in our life right now, pandemic and COVID, it's frustrating. And I felt myself getting off of social media frustrated and mad. And I wanted to create a space where we could drink a beer and learn something new. So today is my 9th podcast, and I've had a lot of great, incredible guests where I've learned a lot of new stuff, and it's been fun, because things that I've wanted to learn about, things that I maybe I knew a little bit about, and it changed my perspective on things. So I'm actually going back next week. We're going back through the last 9 episodes, and we're going to take some small clips and some small excerpts from those lessons learned, and we're just going to recap and have some fun going back and looking back over the last 9 weeks. And so join me next week, Tuesday. We'll go over that. And thank you guys so much for always tuning in and hanging out with the 5 Foot Viking. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Ed Namrock Podcast. Thank you, Oscar Macias from
Thank
Cities.
you. Thank
Skull.
you. Skull, sir. Thank you.
I think this is how you end it.